most of all of you in this room, I've learned today, but I already knew, are of Irish heritage. Most of all of you are descendants from those immigrants who arrived between 1840 and 1900. Most, if not all of you, have heard your grandfather, your great-grandfather, great-aunt, or uncle tell stories, which on reflection, you're not at all sure they're true, about your family, about your Irish roots. I'm sure that many of you, you mentioned my grandfather Finnegan, and he was a student of Irish history. He approved of the fact that I thought that one of the most noble figures in history was Wolfe Tone, even though he was a Protestant. I want you to know, Congressman, in the neighborhood I come from, there's no such thing as Welsh Irish or Scotch Irish. My grandmother Finnegan, we used to come back to 10:30 Mass at St. Paul's, and everyone would sit around. The women literally would go in the dining room of the neighborhood and sit around a lace tablecloth and have tea, and the men would sit around the big kitchen table with my grandpa Finnegan and argue sports and politics. And when you got to be about 13 or 14, if you were a boy, you could wander around the table, you didn't sit. And I was standing behind my grandpa, who was a man of great rectitude, and they were arguing about whether the next door neighbor, Johnny Colligan, was going to switch Congressman and become a Republican, because Packy Cummings, the county chairman, and the city chairman would not let him run for mayor. And my grandmother walked up and said, "Ambrose, he's not switching." And my grandfather looked at my grandmother dismissively and said, "Geraldine, how in the hell would you know?" And she looked back, she said, "I saw him take communion this morning." That's a true story. So I just want my grandfather who was I know this will come as a shock to you, but I was occasionally rambunctious and viewed as sometimes passionate when I was a young man, not anymore. And my grandfather used to always talk about Irish history. Joey, he said, "When you grow up, you worry me." He said, "If you have a choice of being Dillabert, B. Collins, B. Dillabert." And my grandmother said, "No, Joey, B. Collins." I don't know how many of you were told the kind of things I was told about my great-grandfather and my great-uncle, who everything from black and tan, so they fought the IRA. They weren't even in Ireland. And, my great-grandfather